There is something wrong with Canada right now. Doesn't matter if it is the skyrocketing rents, overpriced groceries, or the 2.5 trillion debt. But what really is causing all these, and what does it mean for us Canadians? I'm a Canadian, so let's start with what we are feeling the hardest, which is the housing market. In 2025, housing prices have reached levels that make the idea of owning a home a joke for most young Canadians. In Vancouver, the average detached home now costs over $1.8 million, while Toronto isn't far behind. That's nearly 20 times the average income. But how did we get here though? For years, Canada relied on real estate as a major driver of its economy. Foreign investment poured in, developers kept building, and the government failed to take aggressive action. Now, demand far outpaces supply, and zoning laws haven't helped at all. Renting isn't any better. One-bedroom apartments in major cities now average $2,500 to $3,000 a month. That's more than half the monthly income of many Canadians. Trillion debt, people are being pushed further away from city centers, forced into long commutes or even homelessness. Young families are delaying home ownership or leaving cities entirely. And local governments. They're still making big bucks from development fees and land sales, so where's the incentive to change? Second, let's talk about what you see every day, the price of everything. Inflation has technically slowed since 2023 highs, but food prices are still rising high. Canadians are spending 25% more on groceries than they were just a few years ago. Eggs, milk, vegetables, meat. Basic necessities now feel like luxury items. While big grocery chains post record profits, families are turning to food banks in record numbers. In fact, in early 2025, food bank usage hit an all-time high, even among people with full-time jobs. Why? Because wages haven't kept up. The average income in Canada has only risen slightly, while essentials keep climbing. Gas, insurance, internet, transportation, everything is up. People are cutting back, taking side gigs, or just falling into debt. And let's not forget the interest rates. To fight inflation, trillion debt, the Bank of Canada kept rates high. So if you're lucky enough to own a home, your mortgage costs probably just doubled. Now, let's touch the third rail of Canadian politics, immigration. In 2025, Canada hit another record with over 1 million new immigrants, plus temporary residents and international students. But here's the catch. Our cities weren't built for this kind of growth. There aren't enough homes, not enough doctors, trillion debt, not enough jobs, and the result, tensions. This isn't about blaming immigrants. It's about poor planning, trillion debt. Governments welcomed record numbers without building the infrastructure needed to support them. That's led to overcrowded schools, longer ER wait times, and public frustration. On social media and in Parliament, the debate is getting louder and nastier. Anti-immigration rhetoric is rising in debt, fueled by populist voices who are turning real frustrations into divisive narratives. Meanwhile, in debt. Political leaders struggle to balance humanitarian values with the day-to-day realities Canadians are facing. Justin Trudeau has been Prime Minister since 2015. That's a decade in power. And in 2025, people including me are tired of him. Approval ratings have hit historic lows. Even traditional Liberal supporters are jumping ship. Trudeau's government is seen as out of touch, especially by younger voters struggling with rent, groceries, and job prospects, debt. The opposition, led by Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, is gaining steam, but they're not without controversy. Populist messaging has worked well on TikTok and YouTube, debt, but critics question their actual policies. Meanwhile, smaller parties like the NDP and Greens are struggling to stay relevant, and the national conversation feels stuck. We're heading into the next federal election with record polarization and a divided public. Provinces like Alberta are openly clashing with Ottawa, threatening national unity, trillion debt. And for many Canadians, it feels like the system just isn't working anymore. The truth is, Canada isn't collapsing, but it is going through a tough, painful transition. The next few years will define whether Canada emerges stronger or slips further into crisis. And it's up to Canadians to stay informed, speak up, and vote for the future they believe in. If you made it this far, you're already more informed than most. Help spread the word. Share this video with a friend, leave a comment on what you're seeing in your part of Canada, and hit like and subscribe for more breakdowns that matter.